Good evening, folks, and welcome to this week's episode of the Pilot Review Show. I am Captain Blade J52, and I am joined by my merry cohorts. We have with us this week a teacher of the Kirby variety.
Hello!
And we also have a Neela with us who has apparently stepped away from his keyboard, so he's being a dingus con. But, anyways, Artie is... yep.
Sorry.
Artie is stuck at work this week, so sadly he will not be able to join us, but,
the captain sent him on an away mission.
Yep. His electronic expertise was needed, but, anyways, getting into the show notes and everything, we've got some pretty interesting stuff for you this week. We're actually at a secret location. It's actually a very old bridge, if anybody remembers what this is. A little bit of a preview for our budget build later on. But anyways, getting into some of this good stuff. As folks know, we finally have our Sona lockbox and everything, and we have some stats for you guys. And yeah, to the person in chat, technology is very great, but also very, very annoying. Don't you just love that stuff?
Yes, it can be.
In my defense,
it can be.
I was sorting out a driver issue. Apparently, my video cards decided, hey, we're going to update before the show!
Yep. Oh, it had been invaded by rainbow dashes. That's just...
Don't you just love when technology does that? But, in seriousness, first we have our Sona Command Science Vessel. This is the one from the lockbox itself. Now, you can pick it up as early as level 40 and use it, and the base hull at level 40 is 33,000, with a hull of 44,000 at level 60, a shield modifier of 1.285, which is a really weird number. It is also a 3-3 weapons layout, 3 device slots. I have a Lieutenant Commander Tactical, a Lieutenant Engineer, Lieutenant Science, Lieutenant, or not a Lieutenant, but a Commander Science / Command, and Lieutenant Universal / Intel. So this is a hybrid ship, giving you access to 2 of these specializations. Then for console layout, it is 3 Tac, 3 Engineer, 3 Science, or 5 Science.
5, yeah.
So, very good on the layout, I think. Base turn rate of 15 degrees per second. Then 10 to engines, 10 to aux. You also get the Deep Analytics sensor package for the console. You get sensor analysis, subsystem targeting, and a secondary deflector slot. And you also get the command abilities, the inspiration abilities. Very, very powerful ship. It's looking like it's going to shape up to be.
Yeah, I think this ship, and I'm going to put this out there, would make an interesting side torp boat. In fact, I know you and I had discussed some options for that when we first saw these stats.
Indeed we had. And I actually, a little bit before the show, I just got my hands on the ship, thanks to a fleet mate of mine and everything, and I'm going to play around with her, see what I can come up with. But, anyways, as far as the actual console itself goes, all allies within this field, well, when activated, this console emanates a field 3 kilometers in every direction, lasts a moderate duration. All allies within this field, including self, are granted increased shield pin and armor pin as long as they remain within the field. Meanwhile, all foes within the field have 1 beneficial effect removed every second, starting with the longest remaining duration, as well as suffering penalties to recharge. Also gives a passive boost to maximum aux power, control expertise, and shield hardness. Very interesting. Then the Starship trait is, while slotted, activating any foe-targeted control buff power on an enemy that is affected by a control effect will grant an increase to critical chance for a moderate period, can stack up to several times. I could potentially see that having some use. I've not actually unboxed the ship yet, so I can't really give you all exact numbers on screen like I usually do for some of these things, but should be interesting. Then, really quickly, we'll take a look at the Intel version. This is the low-buy ship. This one starts off at level 40, and at level 40 you get a 37,500 hull with 50,000 at level 60. Got a modifier for shields of 1.35, which is rather high for a ship of this caliber. It is a 5-3 layout with 3 device slots. You have a Lieutenant Commander TAC, Lieutenant Engineer, a Commander Engineering / Intel, Lieutenant Science, and Lieutenant Universal / Command. It is 4 Tactical, 4 Engineering, 3 Science, 10 base turn rate, then 10 weapon power, 5 shield power, 5 engine power. Can also equip dual cannons, which is rather interesting, I believe. You get the Subspace Barrier Agitator. So, very interesting in terms of this. And it also does have the Intel abilities, which is the active sensor arrays. So, definitely some fun stuff that can be pulled off with this ship. And then we kind of got to preview the effect of the weapon a little bit, so I'm not really going to go into that too much as far as to what it does. But it does provide a passive boost to maximum shield subsystem power, drain expertise, and shield capacity. Then I'll read the trait really quickly. It says, while slotted, damage caused by your high-yield torps and transport warheads will cause an isolatic tear to form near the damaged target. Anomaly will chase down the nearest foe, causing physical damage and draining engine subsystem power to any enemies it encounters. And then, if you have the console set, this is something that I know a lot of people were interested to see. You get 20% damage with plasma energy weapons, plus 10% hull regen, and 20% when not in combat. So, very interesting indeed. Thoughts on the low-buy version, Kirby?
Well, it definitely looks interesting. It is more engineering heavy rather than psi heavy, so I don't see this as a side torp boat, I'll be honest. But you could come up with some interesting builds. I don't think it'll... Well, see, I don't want to say this. I don't think it'll quite have as much potential, at least with what we saw, as the other ship. You know what I mean?
I get you.
You can... I don't think it'll be as easy to find a build for it. That's what I was wanting to say.
For me,
there we go.
This to me strikes me as more of a battleship type is what they were going for. It's the big bad of the fleet. This is the one that, holy crap, once this thing gets to the field, you know, pretty much hide your kids, hide your wife, or... because they blowing everybody up in there. Not that I could resist going there, but...
yeah.
Yep. I know I've got some plans for it and everything. It's definitely going to be interesting having access to command and intel on the same ship.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be.
But anyways, we will have these stats in the notes for you guys once our local recording goes up and everything. You'll be able to check this out. I highly encourage you guys to look at this blog and everything, especially if you're considering investing in the ships or going for them. But anyways, moving along, we have the Kobayashi Maru for the console players.
Yeah, so we just recently finished the Kobayashi Maru event with the PC players, and now the console players get to rescue this iconic ship. So look out for it. You will get, or players will get a reward, the Prolonged Engagement Phaser. Yeah, and it's definitely, it is a fun event. It's similar to, if you remember, the Arena of Sompek. It's kind of similar in the mechanics of that, where try and get as high as you can. And and go from there. You need 3 vouchers to get the prize, the prolonged engagement phaser beam. And you can get either the beam or the dual cannons, or you can equip either the beam or the dual cannons. You claim both. But yeah, so nice, fun little event. How high did you get in the Kobayashi Maru on PC?
That's when how far did we get? Because there was 2 groups that I did. I think the highest we got, the first group I think we got to wave 9. The second one I think we got to 14. It's either 13 or 14. I don't remember exactly which.
Because I did all pugs, 13. And I don't think I did not get as high as that. I don't think I got past 10 or 11, but like I said, I did pugs, so...
Yep. I think it was... I'm pretty sure it was 13. That's the highest we got to, and everything. I think we may have started 14, but that's when we got killed. But...
Yep. So, fun little event. Try it out, see how high you can get.
Yep.
And, yeah, have fun with it.
One thing I would mention, because this is a question that some people actually had on PC, and everything, is there's actually 2 versions of the event for you guys on console. Assuming they did it, they did it the same way on console that they did for us here on PC, is you have a timed version and then you have an untimed version.
Oh, yeah.
And everything. Now, the timed version, it'll run for 15 minutes. However far you get in the 15 minutes, that's as far as you get, and it cuts the mission after that. The untimed version, you go pretty much as long as you can, or as long as you can possibly stand to play it. You do not have to do the untimed version. You do not have to go beyond wave 4. But you do have to at least clear the 3 waves in order to get the reward. So, that is one thing I did want to touch base on real quick.
Yes, thank you.
But, and it should be noted as well that I believe this is an account-wide reward, similar as Sonic.
Yes.
But,
yes, it is. Once you claim it on one character on your account, it unlocks in the Reclaim store for all characters on your account.
But anyways, moving along, we have the PC patch notes for the 18th. Everything. This is when we had the new Brushfire featured episode that came in. This is currently available for captains level 10 and above. This also gets us that nice account-bound little box that gives us either a spec point or a universal tech upgrade, whichever we prefer. We also have the new Endeavor system, as well as the Ferengi Admiralty, or Admiralty, campaign, if you prefer. Then, we also have a host of general fixes, some of the effects getting updated, and, I did say...
You can just hear the smile on his face.
I did say Admiralty on purpose just to annoy Kirby.
It's Admiralty.
I prefer to say Admiralty.
Okay. Well, you can prefer it. Doesn't mean it's right.
In the immortal words of Adam Savage from the Mythbusters, I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Yep.
But, yeah, basically some different abilities got their effects updated, so they're not as hard on everything and whatnot. Then we have a couple of other bug fixes. Actually, quite a few bug fixes that they resolved and everything. Then, this is also the one where they added the power trays, to where you can have up to 10 columns. I don't know why anybody would need that many, at least for me personally, but if you want all those powers, you've got the ability to do it.
I think it's more the complaint that you could only use 3, and there were a lot of people that just didn't know how to unlock the side tray. And so, they needed like 4, maybe 5. But, I mean, for me, the 10 just takes up a lot of real estate on the screen,
think the most that I've
But
ever gotten to is like 5 trays. Well, 5 rows, I should say. Not
yeah.
necessarily 5 trays, but even then, I still don't use them all. I use my first 3 a good bit in those, and then some other skills so I can see my distribute shields and all that stuff. But aside from that, I don't really use much else.
Yeah.
And then there's also the core sampling of the second comet is no longer timed in the Echoes of Light, but completes as soon as the player has collected enough material.
Yay!
So, yay, that is something. But, then that's pretty much it. There's some other good stuff, and then I think this is one that may have gotten fixed already by the time these, or after these notes actually got put up. But the loadout slot options will appear as if nothing is selected after selecting one and transitioning to a map and everything. So it would appear blank even though it really wasn't. I think that actually got fixed in one of the later things, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But anything that stands out to you, Kirby?
The separate option to toggle fire all weapons independent of how many tray rows there are. So that's kind of interesting addition. So if a single tray row is selected, then it will only show fire all weapons. And fire all weapons are only available for horizontal trays. So that's kind of an interesting caveat, I guess.
Yep.
So it's kind of an odd thing to note there. But other than that, nothing really stands out too much, except that. But well, I don't know. Maybe some slight scaling issues with things like hold together and warp shadows are attacking non-player target. Things like that. Oh, they can now be damaged. Okay. See, I need to read these better before we start. No, I'm kidding. I read through them, but... And then it's been like 4 or 5 days. So... But yeah, so there's a lot here, but a lot of it is just slight bug fixes that are really, quality of life stuff. Or visual stuff.
Yep. But anyways, it was a decently sized collection of notes. We will have this up for you guys once the local recording goes up later. But speaking of patch notes, we actually have the console patch notes from the 18th as well.
Oh goodness, those are large too.
Giggity.
So they're getting, consoles got the Wargame Scenario, Twin Tribulations, so they can play that now. Something that's been on PC for a while. It's a new STF. And there's a blog link, tell you all about it. But basically at the very end, you're going to have some PvP against the other players. Other than that, it's a race to the end. Quite an interesting little STF. And then you have the Kobayashi Maru weekend being added, which we just discussed. And that, of course, will run from July 20th to the 24th. As far as the general, we have a few new items that have been added to the Phoenix Prize redemption stores. For Tier 1, they have a Lokari Hokun Science Vessel, the Breen Chelbolg Warship. Tier 4 has the Tanius Admiralty card ship, or Admiralty ship card. They have some bug fixes with the Tachyon particle field and occasionally cause a crash in the specialization UI, and then weekend events for July and August. A couple new hairstyles that were added for humanoids: half shaved for male, half shaved for female, and a few costume bugs. Let's see. And ship heavy weapons now always auto attack. That's nice. There's a few things with content. Things like all that glitter now opens into either EMH Mark 1 or a duty officer of up to very rare quality if the player already has an EMH Mark 1. Kobali Adventure Zone missions through the General Cunel. You can replay them. Block progress. Okay, you can. They resolved an issue which could block progress in Kittimer and Stasis, so that's available to play again. Borg Red Alert only rewarded 1 mark. That's been fixed. And Dragon's Deceit added safety checks, so if the mini boss winds up outside of the room, he should automatically be moved back into the room. So if the boss falls through the floor, it shouldn't be an issue. If that does happen to you and he doesn't come back up, there is a point in the room, you can find it, where you can have fabrications drop down to where he falls, and the fabrications will kill him. So always bring an engineer buff if you're not an engineer yourself, and make sure he has either a turret or a mortar, or both. And if you can find that spot where things will drop them down, and they'll kill the guy, and then you can move on. Nice little workaround found with a friend who was having that problem. Alright, competitive wargame shields proc. There's quite a few. Most of these are bug fixes for the systems section. And let's see. Resolve an issue where a number of powers would not appear on the radial menu. That's a pretty good fix. And let's see. The Constitution and Miranda ship updates. So you have a new free variant, new materials. Constitution refit model has been completely rebuilt from scratch and now uses the same Type 8 material the recently revamped Miranda uses. Update to the Constitution refit models. Free variant part for the Miranda class light cruiser has been added. There's a new strut named Miranda Beta, styled after STO's original Miranda class strut, and includes a small deflector dish on top of the torpedo pod. And new parts are available for the Tier 1 Constitution class light cruiser. So you can get these, check these all out in the ship Tailor. There's quite an extensive list here. Anything stick out for you?
Mainly the Constitution and Miranda updates. That's
Space Barbie.
if you're somebody that appreciates the old school ships like that, you're definitely gonna love those skins, because they do look pretty good in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty decent collection. We will have this up for you guys. But moving along, we have our Welcome to Season 13.5 blog. This also included a link to a developer vlog. This was published by the executive producer, Stephen Rakosa. Everything over STO, basically talking a little bit about the new season and everything. Some of the features that they've had added to the game recently, like the Ferengi Admiralty campaign and the new Endeavor system. Not that I enjoy giving Kirby grief.
No, he doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Anyway.
definitely encourage you guys to take a look at this and everything. They do have some, I guess, some basic info in here. I've not actually watched the little video yet, but any quick thoughts on this one, Kirby?
Not really. It's a reflection of, you know, where we are, where we're going, and they are very proud of season 13.5. I do so far like the addition of the Endeavor system, which they talk about. I'm really glad they were able to get J.J. Hertzler back, and I like the way they brought him back as Martok, brought him in, and I have not played with the Admiralty, the Klingon, or not the Klingon, the Ferengi Admiralty yet, but I am looking forward to that. And yeah, but I'm enjoying season 13.5, and I am glad that the devs have such pride in their work and what they're doing. And I hope they bring us a great season 14.
Indeed.
And I look forward to seeing them all in Vegas.
Indeed. But moving right along, we have the patch notes for PC on the 19th. So as to resolve some issues and everything. But, yeah. Don't really know that there's too awful much we could say on this one, but...
Thankfully.
Yeah. Basically, just bug fixes. Guess we can really quickly look at the patch notes. It's resolved a crash on a few maps that could cause characters to be trapped. That was very annoying. Resolved an issue that was preventing the Sona Command Science Vessel from being able to generate inspiration during combat. That was a very serious break. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just general bug fixes, everything. I mean, we'll have this up for you guys as well. Any quick comments, Kirby?
Not really. I mean, you discussed resolved an issue where much of the Voyager interior was missing. Yikes!
Ooh.
That ship has been through enough, man. 7 years in the Delta Quadrant, and now their interior's missing.
Let's not forget the Year of Hell.
Yeah, no shit. Resolved an issue where an untranslated text error string was visible in the Ferengi Admiralty campaign. Yikes. Oh yeah, this caused some confusion. Unnecessary weekend journal ads for the Tholian and Borg red alerts on PC. Like, what, are they turning us into console now? Yeah. So, yeah, so nice little bug fixes there that we saw, the few of us in our gaming.
But yep, we will have this in the notes for you guys so you can check it out. Again, really just quality of life fixes for this set of notes. But moving along, we have the Brush Fire Week 1 rewards.
Yes. So, Brushfire Week 1. Oh, first I gotta say, amazing episode. If you haven't played it, go play it. After this this podcast is done, go play it. Alright, so the first one, oh my goodness. And they don't have it listed. The first one is weekly episode reward box. So you get the weekly episode reward box, of course, on whichever character you play it on. And we get the choice between the upgrade or the cap specialization point. And then so House Martok has made their tried and true battle-tested defensive configuration console available in appreciation of your assistance. This console's defensive configuration was proven during Martok's engagement with the Zenkathi. It boasts increased survivability and mobility, also while boosting power towards shields and engines. Captains who acquire this engineering console will find their ship's mobility and shielding potential increased. And it is part of a set, which we will find out more about next. Let's see. 2-piece bonus, increased critical chance and accuracy. 3-piece bonus applies specific advantages to the next week's reward. Okay, there we go. So 2-piece bonus, folks. Critical chance and accuracy. And that's all we know.
Yep. As far as the actual items themselves, you can kind of get a little bit of a preview if you mouse over them and everything as far as some of the stats go. Now, I would mention that you're definitely going to want to run this mission for sure if you're somebody that uses Omni Beams, because now you can finally get that second Disruptor Omni that you've been looking for a while. But, yeah. We've been, since the original second Anti-Proton Omni, the Ancient Omni, every so often they've gave us another mission where you can get an Omni Beam for the different energy types. I know we have Anti-Proton, Tetrion, Polaron, and then now Disruptor. So I think it's just Phaser, and then... what am I forgetting? Plasma. That's the other one that's left. And yeah. But moving right along, we have the Tier 6 Cross-Faction Science Bundle for the console players. Now this is a bundle we've had on PC for a while. This gives us the Sutherland class research vessel for the Feds. This is the Tier 6 Nebula. Then the KDF gets the Najsov research vessel. And then the Leosa, I guess is how you say that, for the Romulans. Probably butchered the name, but anyway. But I'm not really going to get into too much of the stats because they're pretty much the same. Everything across the ships. I think there is some minor differences as far as hull strength and shield mods on the different ships, but I think overall it's the...
Yeah, they're very similar.
Yeah, very similar. But I'll leave that in the notes for you guys as far as so you can check out the stats. But here on PC, we like them. I know I like my Nebula. I know Brad, that's been a guest once or twice here on the podcast as well. I know he's also a fleet mate of mine. He enjoys his Nebula very much, and I believe actually made it his flagship, if I'm not mistaken. But,
yes,
yeah.
I have a few on my team speak that swear by their Nebulas as well.
Yep. But very potent ships. If you enjoy the original Nebula, if you're a fan of that ship, you're definitely going to enjoy this one as well. Very potent addition. But I'll have this in the notes for you guys as well, so you can check this out. Highly encourage you to check it out and everything. In my opinion, this is worth the money and everything, as far as the ships themselves go. But moving along, we have an extension to the key sale.
Yes. The 15% key sale was extended. We did tweet this out as soon as it was announced. It was originally supposed to end on the 21st. It has now been extended until the 24th. So it will be lasting until Monday, July 24th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And this is, I believe this is only for the PC. But I'm not 100%. Yeah. So, yes. So, PC captains, remember rule of acquisition number 22. A wise man can hear profit in the wind. I don't think I did that well, but yeah.
Work. Yeah. We can't do as good of Ferengi impersonations as a good friend of ours, but...
As Creo, yes. Yeah. So, yes, so grab your keys, get your Lobby, maybe you can try for that ship you've been wanting, or just sell the keys and get some energy credits. Either way, keys are a good thing to have.
Absolutely. But the next thing we had is a third set of patch notes, or rather a patch note, I should say.
Yeah.
Is resolved an issue which was causing some players to lose bridge officers upon logging in. Now, this was something that a few people had reported on the PC, where they logged in and their bridge officers were missing. They couldn't be found. The only way to get new ones was to essentially actually just go out and buy new bridge officers. Everything was gone. And everything.
Which would really suck if at least some of your characters, like I have a character in my main account that has all of the holographic TOS bridge officers because, I went to the convention last year, I picked it up, so my TOS character has all holographic TOS bridge officers. So I would be so upset if that happened.
Oh, yeah.
They just disappeared. But if you were affected by this issue, please contact customer support, and they will help you to get your bridge officers back.
And to Cryptic's credit, they did jump on this as soon as they heard, because that is a very, very serious issue, especially if you're somebody that's been around for a while, or if you're like me or Kirby, you have the holographic bridge crew. Losing your bridge officers is going to suck certain parts of male anatomy, but, yeah. So definitely contact them, let them know, just say, hey, I lost my bridge officers, your blog said to contact you guys, and they'll help you out and everything. And customer service, that can be kind of daunting for some people to contact those guys, but they're there to help, that's why they're there, and they'll get you guys squared away. But anyways, moving along to our budget build of the evening. If you remember our bridge from a minute ago, you could probably, especially some of you players that have been around a bit longer, may know exactly what class of ship this is. Or one of the variants, I should say. Today's build, this actually comes about at a request from a member of our TeamSpeaks that comes around, our good friend Nutter, and what he had requested was a Dyson Science Destroyer, the Tier 5U ship. Now this is the one that they gave out several years ago now as one of the earlier anniversary ships. I believe this was, I think, 4th anniversary, if I'm not mistaken.
Sounds right.
Either 3rd or 4th, I can't remember exactly which. I'm wanting to think it was I keep wanting to think 3rd for some reason, but that don't hardly sound right. But anyway, somewhere along in that time and everything, this was one of the first account-wide ships you could get like this. Everything, a very potent ship back then. Still very decent by today's standards as well. But this is also, I believe, for those people that didn't have a chance to get it, available in the low-buy store for, I think it's 600 low-buy. So it is the cheapest low-buy ship you can get.
Sounds right.
But, anyway, this is the ship that... Yeah. Is it 600?
Sounds right. I was going to say, yeah, that's back in the day when after the event was done, it converted to a low-buy ship.
Yep. Now, this is also the ship that gives you the Solene secondary deflector as well as the Solene warp core if you're somebody that's interested in that set as well. Now, we're doing this is one of the special variations of our bare bones budget. We don't often use this one, save for very special occasions, and what we're doing is actually a 1-key budget this time around. Now, our 1-key budgets are kind of what you would expect. You've gotten a hold of a lockbox key somehow, you've sold it off, the EC you get from selling the key is what you use to fund the construction of the ship. As far as what he wanted more of a, what we call space wizardry or space magic in game. He wanted it to be more of a science-focused ship. everything. Now, as far as the weapons go, to assist with this, we had him with a Polaron setup, because there is some nice set bonuses you can get from Polaron, as well as some other specialty stuff that we wanted to bring into play. And I see I screwed up one little thing on the deflector there. I forgot to change that over. But as far as the forward weapons go, the forward weapons, we have the chronometric Polaron beam array. Then we have a Pep Torp. And then we have the Thoron-infused Polaron beam. This is the one that comes from the Delta mission, or the Delta rep, I mean. Then we also have the proton cannon that comes with the ship for whenever he goes into the tactical mode. And then for the rear weapons, we have the chronometric Polaron. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say it is important to note this is the one ship that has a weapon that cannot be removed, and that is what this is. So this weapon has to be on the ship. It cannot be removed, and so we're not really including it as a choice, but we're including it out of necessity.
Yeah. It's, as far as if you're wanting to play with proton or protonic damage, it's not a bad little weapon and everything. The only real catch to it is you have to go into the tactical mode to make use of it, is the only thing as far as that goes. But as far as the rear weapons, we have the chronometric Polaron Omni Beam, as well as a standard Polaron Omni. Then we have the neutronic torpedo on the back, everything. And as far as the shields, the impulse engines, warp core, and all that stuff, we have the Solanae secondary deflector on the ship, because that actually came with the ship. Then we have the... This is supposed to be the Jem'Hadar set. Let me actually go ahead and change that, or I will forget. Go ahead and fix that. There we go. But anyway, it was supposed to be the Jem'Hadar set and everything. We decided later on to switch from Braden to Jem'Hadar, and I apparently forgot to swap the deflector. But, anyways, we wanted to go with the Jem'Hadar set for the shields, the deflector, and the impulse engines, because it is a nice set. It does give some nice buffs to Polaron and everything, and also to the Control X. I believe it was, I think I said 48.8 Control X on the deflector at just a Mark 11. That's pretty potent, and that's going to get even stronger when it's upgraded eventually. Now this is also the set that comes from the Operation Gamma mission and also Boldly They Rode, so it's split up between two different missions. So you will need a shuttlecraft, and you also get to hear Kurland here and everything. Not that we enjoy picking at Bordicus, just a little bit, but, you know.
Kurland here.
There it is. There it is. But in seriousness, Bordicus is a pretty cool dude. He is the one that voiced Kurland originally and everything. But as far as our warp core goes, it's the Jem'Hadar set itself does not come with a warp core, so we had to source one out. Now, we could have used the Solanae core for this because it does come with the ship. However, we felt that you're going to get more of a bonus out of the Temporal Phase core than you would the Solanae. But the Solanae is a very viable candidate as well, if you wanted to use that. Now, we use the Temporal Phase core a lot. I'm sure people have probably, maybe in some cases, gotten tired of seeing it, but it is, in my opinion, probably the best warp core you can get in-game as far as for free. This is from the Butterfly mission, and if you were around for the Delta recruitment event, then you know of the device known as the Temporal Negotiator. The Temporal Negotiator would cut your bridge officer cooldowns in half for a duration, and this essentially does the same thing, except in the form of a warp core capacitor. But anyways, as far as devices go, now, we usually like to think of devices as personal preference, but there is one such device that we do recommend for pretty much any build, and that is the Subspace Field Modulator. Now, whenever you activate this device, it gives some very nice defensive buffs for the duration. I think it's like plus 40 all damage resist, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere along in that range.
Oh, something like that, 30 or 40.
Yep, somewhere along in that range.
And I'm not looking at it either.
But the other thing we do want to mention with this device is it can, in some cases, be a bit of a double-edged sword. Now, it also debuffs you for a minus 400 proton damage resist rating. Now, in previous builds, we hadn't always mentioned that, but due to some of the enemies starting to use a few protonic effects now and again, it is something to be aware of. As far as our engineering consoles go, we've got 3 slots available on the ship. Then we have a bioneural gel pack. This comes from the Delta Rep. Also gives a bit of Bridge Officer cooldown reduction, and also completes our set bonus for the isokinetic cannon. This is one reason why we had the Neutronic and the Thoron beam on there as well. The isokinetic cannon is a very nasty little thing that you can pick up from the 3 set of that, and also works off of your EPG. So if you're going to have an EPG heavy build, then it's something you might want to consider. We also have our assimilated module, which gives, I think this one is the Control X, I think we said. Brain fart, but...
Which one? The assimilated?
The assimilated,
yes, Control X.
Gives some Control X and everything. Also gives some crit chance and severity. And occasionally, I don't mean to do it, folks, but looking at some of these icons and everything, after a while, sometimes they jumble together and you forget what's what. And then we have the Nukara console as well from the Nukara Rep and everything. This also is there for the Control X. It gives a pretty decent little bit of it. Also, I believe it cut the weapon cost to, or I think it was cut the weapon cost or had the accuracy. I don't remember exactly for our weapons.
Accuracy.
Okay, accuracy. Yep. It's been one of those weeks, folks. But anyway, as far as our science consoles go, we have a exotic particle field exciter from the Exchange. This is the crafted one that you can make. This is just a basic 12, very rare. Then we have 3 of the exotic particle focusers. These come from the Crinum Science Lab. These are the Control X EPGs. These are a nice boost to your exotic damage, everything. Then as far as our tactical consoles go, we have the Chronometric Capacitor. This completes our chronometric set, as well as gives a nice science nuke, everything, and exotic damage, castable that you can use. Then, because we wanted to focus more on the exotic damage, not necessarily just the weapons, we have the Delphic Tear Generator. This gives a pretty potent boost to our exotic damage, as well as a nice little attack that you can use from it. Then we also have a directed distribution manifold from the Terminal Expanse mission. This is a plus beam. Sadly, there's not really a place yet in game where you can get Polaron consoles dedicated, that is. So you've got to kind of source the next best thing out. And that's what we have for there. Then, moving along into the... take a look at these skills right quick. As far as these skills go, this is kind of similar to some of the builds we've done before. As far as the Lieutenant tree, we have 2 points into Hull and Shield Cap, 1 point into Shield and Hull Restoration. Then we maxed out our energy weapons. We also have the improved EPS flow and a point in Impulse Expertise. And we did max out the control expertise, since we are going to be very control heavy in terms of powers and damage. Then we also have 2 points into the improved drain expertise. Then 3 points in advanced targeting expertise. That'll offset some of the penalty to FAW and some of the other firing modes. I don't know where that came from, but then we also have...
but words, man, words.
Yeah, words. I'm telling you, every time I'm around Kirby, I get a contact high off of her meds or something. But
hey man, how come I have 3 pills missing?
I admit nothing. But, anyways, horseplay aside and everything, continuing on, we have maxed out our hull plating. This will give a bit more defensive value to the ship and everything, since he doesn't really have a lot of defense consoles or anything. Then we have 2 points into shield hardness. This reduces damage to the shields. Then we maxed out our weapon amplification and specialization. Now, I like to mention this until they get the builder updated. The critical chance bonus you actually get as of Season 13 is actually 4% instead of 6%, but it is still worth picking up. The bonus you get from the amplification is actually a 40% bonus instead of a 20%. So, very, very good there. Then we have defensive and offensive subsystem tuning. We have 3 points in exotic particle gens and 3 points in long-range targeting sensors. And then either your choice of the hull penetration or the shield pen. Kirby and I differ as far as which one we usually like to prefer, but as long as you have one of them on the ship and everything, you're going to be doing pretty good. Arguments can be made either way. Really is no right or wrong answer, but just a matter of personal preference. Then finally, we have a point into warp core potential for free power, and to cool down his science powers a lot more quickly, we have 3 points in advanced scientific readiness. Since a lot of his, actually most of his damage is going to be coming from his science powers, you want those to cool off as quickly as possible. Then finally, as far as the specializations, we have the Temp Ops primary and Intel is secondary. Then moving along to our traits, take a look at these real quickly, then do the BOF powers. We have the accurate trait that offsets the fall penalty a bit, as well as other firing modes. We have beam training, elusive for defensive power. We have Grace Under Fire, which is the career specific for engineers, and he is actually an engineer, so that's why this trait is there. Now, if you're not an engineer and you want to use this build, just swap in your own career specific trait. We have Nanite Repair Matrix from the Midnight Mission. Then we have Point Blank Shot from House Peg. For our R&D trait, we went with the Particle Manipulator, which is really good for exotic builds and everything, especially one this exotic heavy. Fleet Coordinator for some free damage, and then finally Astrophysicist to squeeze that extra little bit out of the particle generators. We have the Best Defense, which buffs the attack patterns a bit to give some hull healing. Then we also have the Predictive Algorithms from Intel to offset that fall penalty a bit more. As far as our space reputation traits, these all come from Mark II and Mark IV of their respective reps. The Precision from the Romulan reputation for some free crit hit. Then we have the Advanced Targeting Systems for some crit severity. We have the Aux Offense, which gives some extra damage based on Aux power. Finally, the Particle Generator Amplifier for some free exotic damage. Then finally we have, in our active reputations, the Anti-Time Entanglement Singularity. Still a very nice little power, even in Season 13. We have the Biomolecular Shield.
And I was going to say, because this build is very heavy in exotic particle generators, or EPG, that anti-time entanglement is going to do very, very well.
Oh, yes. But the Biomolecular Shield, this is the green sphere that you may see a lot of people using in missions like ISA or elsewhere. It is a very nice AoE heal and damage reduction. Then we have the Deploy Sensor Interference Platform. This is, in my opinion, a very nice thing to have because it's more of an, oh crap, I'm going to die thing. If you need to duck back, if you need to get away for a couple seconds, maybe to throw a heal, maybe you want to wait for a power to cool off a little bit, you're really low on health, then you can throw this down, it'll taunt off of you, and hopefully last long enough for you to get your power, get your heal, whatever you need it to do. Then finally we have the Quantum Singularity Manipulation. This is the final one in the Romulan rep. This is the Tier 5 ability. Whenever you use this power, it gives a pretty hefty science boost for the time, as well as a temporary
plus 100
from your channel.
Oh wow!
Plus 100 to all science stats.
So yeah, very, very powerful. Now,
Yeah.
the combination we like to do for some of this stuff is, especially with a build that's going to have anti-time entanglement and a lot of EPG anyways, hit your Quantum Singularity Manipulation first, throw all of your other exotic boosts, then maybe grab while the target's up, and then throw your anti-time on top of that, and it's going to eat through their hull pretty darn quick. But that's what we've got as far as the traits and reputation goes. Look at the BOF powers. Now, this particular ship, it has, it doesn't have any universal seats. It does have a Commander Tactical, an Ensign Tactical, Lieutenant Engineer, Commander Science, and Lieutenant Science. Now, the one thing that we will mention is you won't have access to both Commander abilities at the same time. Now, the one thing that was different about the Dyson Science Destroyer is that it had the ability to transform or to change modes, such as going from tactical to science, and then from science to tactical, and so on. Depending on which mode you were in, either the science mode or the tactical mode determined what commander level ability you actually got to make use of. But as far as the commander tactical seat, we had a TAC Team 1, a Beta 1, a Torp Spread 3 to take advantage of that Pep Torp and the Neutronic. And then for the commander level ability, we had an attack pattern Omega 3 for whenever he is in the tactical mode. And then finally for Ensign Tactical, we had a Beam Fire at Will 1 to make use of the beam weapons a little bit more. For Lieutenant Engineering, he's only got the 2 powers. We went a little bit, actually pretty much all defensive as far as Engineer goes. We went for Engineering Team 1 for the hull heal and certain debuff clearing, and Reverse Shield Polarity for some defensive power. For Commander Science, this is where a lot of his damage is actually going to be coming from. We have the Hazard Emitters 1 to give a heal over time and purge certain debuffs. Then we have the DRB 1, Vortex 3, and then finally the Gravity Well 3. Then we have the Science Team 1 and the Scramble Sensors 1. Now I realize one thing as well is in the final calculations he already had a Vortex 3, so we didn't take that into account and everything as far as the actual cost of the ship. Everything. So just take note, if you don't already have Vortex 3, you will need to take that into the calculations. Everything. But hopefully you guys can kind of see what we're going with here as far as his exotic powers and everything. But anyways, comments on this, Kirby, and everything?
So yeah, the lieutenant, I think you missed the lieutenant science there as well.
Did
I don't remember
then,
hearing the Scramble sensor. Yeah.
We had the Science Team 1, which purges certain debuffs, such as the subnucleonic effect, as well as gives a bit of shields back to us, and also the Scramble Sensors as a nice little middle finger to the enemy, and a nice AoE confuse effect.
Yeah, and the important thing to note about Scramble Sensors, there's a couple things with that. Number one, it is considered to be a control effect, believe it or not. So it is affected by that third low power with the Control X that debuffs your enemies while they are in a control effect. So That is a nice little thing to have. But the other thing, if you're going just pure DPS, while those enemies are confused and firing on each other, that does surprisingly count towards your overall damage. Bet you didn't know that. So it's a nice little thing. But the big reason that we're focusing in this one, a lot of the consoles and stats that we're focusing on are the control expertise and the exotic particle generators, and that's for these 4 science skills that are going to be the bulk of the damage. And it really does, it's a really great combination. It does come from a lot of this does come from a build first created by Proteus, or Darth Proteus. You may have seen him around the community. But yeah, I mean, this is a really good combo. It's tried and true. It works, and it is kind of it is a really fun thing to do as well. Just group them up and then slap them with that vortex, and then make them do lens flare everywhere, and make them shoot at each other, and then shoot them with that pep torp. The reason that we did include that particle emission torpedo, by the way, is because, not necessarily because of the damage the torpedo itself does, but because of the damage that the cloud, the theta radiation cloud, will do with all those exotic particle generators that you're building up with your consoles and your skill point choices. So, you know, that's going to do a heck of a lot of damage, just that cloud, which is why you have that big torp spread. So it all comes together when you start looking at things like that. So, very, very interesting build. I think he'll have a lot of fun with it.
I think he will too. I'm normally not a science junkie like Kirby is, but you can't argue with results, I'll say that for it. Can't argue with the results that science can do, and it can definitely be pretty fun. But anyways, I did include where you get everything in the notes so he can find everything pretty easy. I did include some costs for him as well. We were looking at the average price of a key was about 5 million. We came in at about 4.6. And this is one of the longer builds that we've done as far as dilithium. Everything for refinement, you're looking at about 11 days, assuming that you have only one character running. Now, he did say that he had a little bit of dilithium already, so he was cool with it. So, anyways, that's as far as our calculations go and everything there. As far as the bugs corner goes, I am testing a few things for you guys at the moment and everything. I'll be able to tell you all a little bit more once I get some data on it either way. I don't... Oh, go ahead.
Chris, I broke it.
Oh, God. She can't give me a day off with this. She just can't do it.
Earlier today, I was playing the new Link on one of my characters. And I was up on a hill sniping some Gemmadar, because, you know, that's what I do. And one of them managed to get up by me and smacked me down to the bottom of the hill. And I didn't get back up. I did, however, scoot along the ground, lying down like a dead corpse. Which was... I turned on my recorder and recorded it for you. But yeah, that was quite an interesting little experience there. So, I broke it.
She would. But in seriousness, folks, I mean, if you do see bugs like that, please let them know and everything. You know, like I've said time and again on here, they don't like bugs any more than you or I do. They want to get stuff as quickly fixed as they can. But they're only human. There's only so many of them. Same thing with us bug hunters. There's only so many of us and everything. And please do give them a little bit of time to fix some things as well. It can be a pain in the rear end when dealing with code sometimes, especially depending on the severity of the break and exactly what's broken. But they do have forums set up for you guys for the consoles, for the PC as well. Everything can go on there. You can tell them, hey, I'm experiencing this. This is what's going on. If you've got screenshots and video, that's even better. But I know the developers... Or you
can just find Darkblade and go, Chris, I broke it.
Yeah. But in seriousness, folks, I mean, if you do see me around in game, you are welcome to drop me a note in the mail or something and say, hey, this is what's up. Feel free to hit up one of the other hosts if I'm not around, but you catch one of them. They'll see to it gets to me, and I'll see to it gets to the devs. But
I am so tempted to offer a reward to anybody who sends you the first line, Chris, I broke it.
I'm going to hunt her down in game one of these days and throw her out the airlock, but that's pretty much their line. It's pretty much a game between everybody on her TeamSpeak and this one to see who can make me go insane the quickest. And if I actually do it, they win some kind of a prize, and they won't tell me what it is, but I'll be danged if I let them win. Because see, if I break, they win, and they know that.
Yep.
Yeah, but as far as the rest of the bugs go, I am testing some stuff, like I was saying earlier. I don't really want to say too much until I get some data on them either way, because I don't want to alarm any of you guys or anything, or give you guys the idea that there's stuff going on that may not be a bug. But anyways, we're coming up on our final segment of the evening, and we have Teacher's Corner. What have you got for us this week?
So, this week, Teacher's Corner, I took a little bit of a break. First of all, sad face, the summer event is over. They turned off the energy credit faucet. No, I say that because, the summer event is just a huge energy credit faucet. It really is, and I don't, people don't get it, Weekend Warriors will sit there and they'll go, oh, you gotta grind it, you gotta grind it like all day long and spend the whole week, and, it's not true. It's really not. I mean, let's say your average Weekend Warrior, right, logs in Friday, Saturday, Sunday for, say, 3 hours. That's enough time to complete 2 rotations of the event schedule, right? Just doing that, they could literally, and this is taking out what they need to buy the best power boards and floaters, and just finishing the races. Okay, not counting if they come in for second or third, but just finishing. Doing 3 days a week for every week of the summer event. 2 rotations thing, they could have earned, and I'm not kidding, 47 million energy credits just from playing one character. Okay? The summer event is an energy credit faucet. I love it. So, yeah. But the energy credit faucet is gone. Summer event is ended. Sad face. But we have a new featured episode. So I did something I don't usually do in Teacher's Corner, is a playthrough. And it's actually a little bit of fun. One friend played through the episode with me. We had a visit from another friend who does the voices, Creo. And yeah, we had some fun with the Zenkathi as Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Martok wanting some turtle soup, and yeah, I mean, Martok ended up getting turtle soup flavored with a little bit of Jem'Hadar. It's this is what we decided. So yeah, there's a little song in there. You'll love it. So that's my teacher's corner this week.
Why does that not surprise me one bit, knowing you guys?
Because you know how crazy I am.
Yeah, that's not untrue.
Hey, I call the Crenum nippleheads. What do you expect?
Again, that's not untrue, but definitely check that out, folks, and everything. If you're kind of curious about the new episode, you don't think you're going to get to play it for a while, or you want to have some ideas.
Or you're just not sure how to get through something, because we do walk you through it.
Yep. And you get a free comedy show at the same time.
Uh-huh.
But, anyways, folks, that's our show for this week and everything. I know there's a decent little bit of stuff to get through, some interesting stuff for sure. But, anyways, a good shout out to our friends over at the Temporal Armada. Be sure to check out those guys on the radio as well. Also, we are now partnered with Kurtang Pirate Radio and everything. Also, another good group of people. Be sure to check them out when their radio show goes live as well. Coming up within the next couple, I believe we're down to, 2 weeks, isn't it? And we'll have some of our hosts out at Las Vegas. We'll have
buddy.
TeacherKirby and boss man Scott Ross out there. And they're going to be on the floor. Hopefully they're going to be able to get some very cool interviews for you guys and everything.
I'm going to be busting my butt the first day of that convention, going around trying to get interviews, and yeah. Yep.
Maybe we'll luck out. We'll get Garrett Wong again and some of the others. But who knows what all kind of fun we're going to have.
I have targets. That are priority. And I won't say who, because it'll be a disappointment if I can't get them. But I am the interview gal. I seem to have the magic touch. So,
yep.
So I've got my targets, and I found out the key is to talk to them early and often. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yep. But, definitely let your friends know and everything. We'll try to get you as much as we can from the floor. I myself won't actually be present at Vegas this year, sadly. But I will be joining them on the TeamSpeak and everything. And hopefully joining in on as much of the fun as I can. But, anyways, if you have any bug reports, feel free to let us know. Also, if you'd like some help with your piloting, maybe you've got your build down, but you're just not doing as much as you think you should be, run a mission, get us a clip of your piloting, feel free to send it in to us. Tell us, hey, I want a tank, I want to do DPS, I want to be a space wizard, I want to be a tank, whatever it is, we'll be sure to help you out. We'll do what we can to help you. But, as always, folks, be sure to spread it around about Vegas and everything. We are grateful for any and all support you guys do give us here at the show, because without you guys out there, we wouldn't have a show. But
definitely.
Anyways, folks, that's our show for this week. I hope you all have enjoyed it and everything. I hope you've found the information of some use and everything. We'll have all this up in the notes once the recording goes up for you guys out there in YouTube land later on. But for now, folks, this is Captain Blade, and we're signing off with Pilot Review.